Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Taylor Fuller. I'm a travel influencer. If you found me from Instagram, awesome. If not, go ahead and give me a follow over there because that's the perfect place to stay up to date on my day-to-day adventures. I also have a travel blog called Travel Colorfully, so you can go and read about my experiences all over the world over there. Today's video is going to be an about me and a question and answer kind of form. Let's move on to the questions. At Dalmodius asked me, what is your job? Do you work and travel? So, my job has evolved over the years. Currently, I am a full-time travel blogger. What that means is that I own my own business where I blog about destinations and hotels that I work with while I'm traveling. I also write freelance for several websites like BuzzFeed. I also do, things like write photo descriptions for stock image websites, so it's not always the most glamorous job. I know a lot of people think that travel blogging is super glamorous, but it's just not always the case. The pay can be very sporadic. I'm not sure that a lot of people really talk about that aspect of it. I can go months where I make a nice amount of money doing sponsored posts and all of those kinds of things, but then I can go a month or two not making any money from my blog. Because a lot of the stuff that I still do is barter. So when I work with hotels, a lot of the time I'm just, providing them with a service like a blog post review, Instagram post, Instagram stories in exchange for a couple of nights. So not everything I do makes me money. So that's why I do maintain a freelance lifestyle as well. Moving on, excuse me, Fresh and Fearless, hello, asked me, what made you want to start blogging? So I went to school for journalism and photography. I always loved writing. I picked up a camera when I was like 12 and never put one down. I actually ended up trying to major in darkroom photography and they canceled the program at my school. I started my blog my senior year of college as a way to document my fashion at the time. It was a fashion blog to begin with. I was really into exploring different trends and all of that, so I found it as a great way to write all about that kind of thing. And then I ended up moving to Italy, and from there kind of just naturally transitioned into a travel blog. Next few questions are from the Sojourneys. The first one is, how does your family feel about your travels and moving? So if you didn't know, I'm moving to London at the end of next month. I'm super excited about it and I really can't wait. I've been wanting to do this for years, so I just finally bit the bullet and decided this is the time to do it. There's no time like the present, especially because I do have a European passport. A lot of you guys also have asked me how am I moving over to London. So I do have a European passport. My mom was born in Malta, so that allows me to move over to London, to the UK right now, before the Brexit happens without having to deal with visa issues or anything like that. So basically, to go back to the question, my family's really excited. Everyone travels in my family, so for them it's a great new destination. No one has been to London in my family, so I'm excited for them to come visit and explore with me. They've been really supportive for me. I'm very lucky because my family understands now that I want to do this. I didn't just start like backpacking and wandering around. I got my start working at a travel company in Italy, so that was a job. So for them, that was a great way for me to delve into travel. And then I ended up teaching English in Thailand, so it was another great way to have a job, making some money, and being able to explore. So now that I am starting to make some money from my business, and I did form an actual business last December. I can't say last December now. It's over a year ago now. That's awesome. So yeah, I've had my business for over a year now, so it is an LLC. And when I did that, I think my parents really knew that I was serious about this lifestyle. Their next question is, what type of work will you be doing in London? So I will be doing the same thing that I'm doing now in London. So as I said before, freelance work, blogging, traveling, the same thing. The final question from the Sojourneys is, what advice would you give your younger travel self? This is a really great question. So the first time that I ever traveled without my family, without like doing family vacations and growing up, was studying abroad in Paris, and I absolutely hated it. I had the worst experience ever. It was all my fault, and so the the advice that I would give to my younger travel self is to just be present where you are. My biggest mistake in Paris is that I lived in my relationship that was going on at home, and I completely missed out on these amazing experiences with other people who were in my program, meeting other people who were local to Paris, and just overall experiences. Sure, I still got to travel and I did a lot, but I didn't really enjoy it because I wasn't actually there. I was always concerned about what was going on at home, and it was just terrible for me. And I really regret that because I had a lousy time, and I lived in Paris for 5 months. But I will also say that that experience is what brought me to where I am today. Without that terrible experience, I never would have gone and moved to Italy, because Italy for me was a redemption to be present and to prove to myself that I could live in a foreign country. The next 2 questions are from Hello Cam. The first question is, what are 5 tips in building Instagram? I've been building my Instagram for years now. I find that a lot of people really believe that Instagram can be grown overnight or really quickly. I find that to be false. My really good friends, we've been growing our Instagrams for years now. Yes, there are some people who can really explode overnight, but that's not the norm. And I think we fixate on that because we want to have overnight success. But really, you have to work at it. So my first tip would be to engage as much as possible. Engaging is a great way. I'm talking about engaging with your followers, engaging with the people you follow, and engaging with new people. Another tip would be to get on the Explore page and just check out new accounts. I think we get sucked into just following the same people over and over again, which is great. Like, I love who I follow. There's a reason I follow them, but I also am really interested in seeing new people. My third tip for building Instagram would be to really focus on creating content that speaks to people. So I'm talking post photos that you're proud of. Sure, of course, every once in a while, if you want to post a photo of you and your friends, go for it. But if you're using Instagram to build a business, then you really need to stick to one thing, which brings me to my 4th point, is you need to find a niche. If you've been on my Instagram, last month I experimented with something totally different, and it really didn't work for me, but I wanted to try something new. And then last week I started posting my really colorful photos again, and my murals and all of that, and it performed well because that's what my followers know that I do. And my 5th and final one would be to create a community. I think that's the most important thing. I think we constantly forget that Instagram is just a great way to meet people around the world. I've connected with so many people over the last year and a half from Instagram, and I've actually made some great friends who will be my best friends for a really long time, and I think that that's hands down the most important part of Instagram. The next question from Hello Cam is, what's your favorite place that you've traveled to? I hate that question. I'm sorry, Hello Cam. I just hate it because it's such a hard question to answer. I have to think about that. I love Cambodia. Cambodia is an amazing country. And Florence, because I lived there for a year and it was the best year of my life. So definitely Florence. And then London. Obviously I love London. I'm moving there, and it's one of those cities that I can go to over and over again and never get bored of. But we have one more question from Hello Cam. Sorry about that. I can't read my handwriting. So the last question from Hello Cam is, what are your top 3 bucket list destinations for 2018? Number 1 is Cape Town. I am dying to go to Cape Town. Cape Town is just one of those destinations for me that has so much to offer, and I've heard such amazing things about it that I need to get there. So Cape Town is my number 1. Number 2, let's see, probably Portland, Oregon. Have always wanted to go to the Pacific Northwest. I know that I'm moving from the States, but that doesn't necessarily mean I won't travel in the States. So definitely the Pacific Northwest. So Cape Town, Pacific Northwest. And then my 3rd one. This is a tough one. I don't know. That's so hard. I have so many places on my bucket list. But probably Australia and New Zealand. I know that's 2 different ones, but I'm going to try to make a trip to Australia and New Zealand at the same time at the end of the year, when it's probably a year from now. Birdie Wilkins said, how do you earn money blogging? So that's a great question. So most of my money from blogging is actually made on Instagram. We do a lot of sponsored posts on Instagram, I try to only work with companies that I actually truly believe in. I don't like posting about things that I don't care about, obviously. I belong to a ton of influencer networks online, so that's where I find a lot of my campaigns. And then I also work with some companies quarterly. I do have like ongoing partnerships with a few companies, and I also make money writing sponsored blog posts for different companies. The Awkward Traveler asked, what's the hardest part of traveling for you? I really love this question. This is something that I've struggled with the past year. I've always been a solo traveler, and while it's amazing to solo travel because you do have the freedom to do what you want and you always meet amazing people along the way, I've been really lonely this past year, and I'm really hoping to find a community in London, which is why I'm moving there. Don't get me wrong, I'm so grateful to do these things that I get to do, but it's so much more fun when you get to share them with other people. I was lucky enough to go on a few trips with some friends this past year, with my mom, and even on some press trips with like groups of people, and I always have more fun when I'm traveling with others. And I have to say, like, living the life that I live, it's just really hard to maintain relationships. I've lived in Florida for 3 years, and I know like 3 people who live here. It's just really difficult because you're moving in and out of people's lives, and you can't expect other people to really understand that. I know it's just one of those situations where maintaining relationships and really being able to find a community is probably the hardest thing about my job. Jade Archives asking, what's your favorite color? Jade, that's a really hard question to answer. If you've seen my feed on Instagram, you know that I love all colors, but I'd probably have to say blue. And let's see. Peter Swan 92 asks, what was your motivation or event that started your passion for travel? So I would have to say that it was my time studying abroad in Paris. As I said, I had a really awful, awful time. But there's one specific moment in my life, and I feel really like great that I can pinpoint exactly when, like the moment that changed my life. And it sounds ridiculous, and this is a ridiculous story, preface it. So I went to Oktoberfest when I studied abroad in Paris, and I went with like 50 people from my college. And we all decided to just meet up in Munich that weekend at the exact same time. So we all decided we're going to meet in the Hofbräu tent. And we all decided we were going to meet in the Hofbräu house tent. I think that's what it's called. And we ended up dominating an entire section. So if you've been to Oktoberfest, there's tables that you stand at, and like you get your steins and your food and everything around those tables. Oktoberfest is one of those things that you go to where everyone's really friendly and wants to talk to each other and interact and just like drink and have fun and whatever. So everyone was being so nice to us except for this one table of Swedish guys, and they were just not happy, and I was not sober. I had had quite a few steins, and I went up to the table and I just, made a comment saying like, listen, like we're all here having a good time, just have a good time with us. And they didn't like that. They were like, oh, you're obnoxious Americans, you're just taking over, you're so rowdy, all this stuff. Everyone was being rowdy. It's Oktoberfest. So a few hours later, I'm walking down one of the aisleways, and all of a sudden somebody projectile vomits all over my back. All over my back. I ended up dropping my stein and shattering it, and breaking glass in Oktoberfest is like one of the few things that will get you thrown out. And luckily a security guard saw it happen and was like, just come find me after you clean yourself up and I'll let you back in, because getting back into a tent after you leave is almost impossible. But the best part is they turned around and the guy who threw up on me was one of the Swedish guys who was not being nice to us. And even better, he was wearing lederhosen and a moose hat. So that was just the image. So basically how this event, kicked off my travels is this kid, Jared, was watching this entire thing happen, and he worked at a travel company based in Italy. So if you can tell where this story is going, basically 3 years later, I kept in touch with this kid, and 3 years later, he asked me if I wanted his job in Florence. And I was like, oh my god, yes. I basically got the job because he told our boss that I handled myself really well when I got projectile vomited on at Oktoberfest, and that therefore I could handle a tour of 50 college students. So there you go. That's my moment. So my last question for this segment is from Tamaro96. And the question is, what are some tips or advice for someone who would like to make a career of blogging? So I would say to really make sure that you want to do this. It seems really glamorous, but it's a lot of work. I work all the time. I'm never not working. It's really hard to explain this to people. Like, I sit and I work at night. I work on the weekends. I'm always on my phone. So if you're not someone who likes to spend time on technology, on your phone, on your computer, whatever, like, you're not going to enjoy blogging because it's a really big part of it, of course. My other advice would be to stick with it. As I said earlier, like, this is not something that happens overnight for most people, and you don't have to have millions of followers, even hundred thousands of followers. I just think that it's all about building a community that supports you and really understands what your message is. So just work on your community, work on your writing, come up with something that makes you different from other people. So those would be my tips if you are interested in joining the blogging world. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I will be posting a video every week. Some of them will be this kind of form where I'm sitting here talking to the camera. Others will be some vlogs. I'm going to work on not looking pissed off all the time on those. And then other ones will be travel videos for my, adventures and all of that, like some montage-y kind of things. I'm learning this as I go along, so bear with me with editing and all of that right now, but I'm really excited to finally kick off this YouTube channel. If you've noticed, I've had this channel since like 2013, and I do have a lot of videos posted on it. I just have not stuck with it, so this is the year. So thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Bye!